Pretty much everyone donates to charity. Okay. If there were a couple more people in here, it'd be about £12,000 a year, or 60 quid a head. Now, would you mind closing your eyes for me? Promise not to do anything weird with your personal belongings, because you're too far from the stage. Right, with your eyes closed, think about a charity. Any charity. Okay, open your eyes. Good. So, hands up, who saw a logo or a mark with a panda on it? Oh yeah, I can't see. Okay, good. Wibbly green jellyfish thing? None. Wibbly drawing of a heart? One, okay. A red cross? There we go, good. Daffodil? Okay. Donkey? Okay. Well, look, for the curious amongst you, that little lot, £1 billion in turnover. That's 5 charities. 6 if you include the donkey charity. Anyway, they have high street presences, they take out TV ads, they have mobile apps, they do big experiential things. They're about as omnipresent as a brand can be. And we're pretty good at brand recognition. It's kind of sort of baked into us. So that's when a logo or a strapline or event or campaign help us recall a product or a service. They have it sewn up. They have budgets. What I want to dig in today are the smaller ones. More often than not, this is sort of the 50,000 a year and below. And there are a lot of them out there. A lot. 119,476 of them out of something like 180,000 charities. And they need your help, not just your money, but your time and possibly your skills too. And that's where Pro Bono rears its sort of misunderstood head. And these are the ones that run clubs and support facilities and groups and sometimes provide sort of critical on-the-ground services that support maybe local authorities. And when they disappear, there isn't a great big song and dance. But on the ground, there is a massive impact. Like you wouldn't notice it from where you're sat. But the people that feel it, it's a small community usually. And without those 120-odd thousand, the world would be a far less benevolent place. Imagine what would happen with those thousands of organisations if we introduced the time and skills of designers. That's big D design. So that's graphic design, illustration, web design, service design, product design, illustration, whatever it might be, whatever nom de plume they've chosen for themselves this week. Hands up again. Sorry, there's going to be a couple of these. Anyone a designer or think that at one point or another they may have been a designer or knows a designer? Yeah, okay, great. Well, look, at a very high level, we are in the business of visual communication and problem solving. Well, that's what I like to think that we do. And on the whole, who was it? Who is a designer? Right, we're pretty empathetic, aren't we? Yeah, great. And as such, working pro bono should be a sort of remarkable experience for everyone concerned. Can be, should be, and it must be. I'm sure most of you heard the term before. Pro bono publico, for the public good. It's professional work undertaken for free, so no charge. And it's well known and practiced in the legal profession. If you are interested, not just the designers, but everyone, go to the Law Society website, and they have these fantastic resources, really fantastic resources. Now, most designers are modest enough to sort of recognise their efforts maybe won't have the same kind of impact as, let's say, legal support. But it's worth considering what great design has the ability to achieve. It can facilitate volunteering time, donations, fundraising. It can raise awareness. These are all critical things for organisations of any size. And currently, on the whole, there are a bunch of reasons why this kind of isn't happening. The creative industry. So I'm going to point at the creative industry more broadly because they've been dining out on pro bono for decades, forever. This is paying interns no money. Is anyone interning somewhere this summer? Not necessarily a creative agency. Yeah? No? Ever? Free? There we go, okay. Basically, it's all the stuff that no one else wants to do, and it's for free. And this works all the way up, this sort of pattern works all the way up to seasoned professionals. Lured in on the promise that if you do this thing for us today, there may be some money further down the line. So, if you've ever heard this term, it's a great opportunity. It'll be fantastic for your portfolio. Students, take note. And it sort of sets a weird, damaging precedent when an entire industry says that this is okay. Why pay when there's always someone there to do it for free? And when it's seen as sanctioned, it does terrible things to the rest of the world. And so we've got the terminology and comprehension of pro bono. It's completely bent out of shape. You've got these two distinct versions. On the one hand, you've got the pure play for the public good. And on the other hand, you've got the sort of shyster, deviant version, which is working for business and working for free and gratifying someone else on the promise of great reward. And let's not kid ourselves. This version, this bastardized version of pro bono is unethical. It's wrong. It's a smear on what pro bono exists for. So to caveat, and this is a big one, the organisations being provided with pro bono, knowingly or otherwise, are complicit in the ruse. So the Lloyds Bank Digital Index shows that something like 50% of charities lack digital skills. 50%. And over half believe that not having a website isn't going to impact how they fundraise. So from our little tiny cohort of 120,000 odd, that's 60,000 charities. It's also noted that the more digitally minded are able to fundraise up to 28% more effectively, which is nuts. Sorry about the numbers. So we don't just provide the service, we do the hand-holding and the education all the way through the production process. They're not just set adrift with a shiny thing that we created. Does anyone remember Sir Philip Green? Is he still a Sir? Yeah. Anyway, so when he was pressed on whether it was sensible to sell a 90-year-old business with tens of thousands of employees to a multiple bankrupt chap who's never run a business before, certainly like a yachting business, that's the kind of thing he's into. Was it a sound business decision? And his answer was, if I give you my plane, right, and you tell me you're a great driver, and then you crash it into the first mountain, is that my fault? Yes, it is. And the thing is, it's not just you on this little plane. BHS had 11,000 employees. He just sauntered on. If I give you this website and you claim you understand how the internet works or how it works, and you fail to maintain it and I go off my merry way, is that my fault? As a supplier of any kind of service, you need to be mindful to see that scenario maybe taking place down the line. And more often than not, these fine, wonderful people don't have a full enough grasp of what it is we're providing, or how it works under the hood. Every client has the potential to be challenging, and I have, over the years, when I had longer hair, sort of had to try and de-idiot myself. It's very easy to be sort of condescending and supercilious and looking down your nose at people. Because the thing is, mountains are everywhere, and it's not that hard to crash this sort of metaphorical plane if you've never flown one before. So the work isn't just the idea and production, it's the education. And the wonderful thing about the Beyond Profit community is they're quite good at sharing. It's still a bit, but they're pretty good at sharing. And it's not an outrageous notion to say, if I give you this and some education, you're probably going to tell other people about it and the education as well. This talk, for instance, it started in an email with a prospective client, and they'd been the victim of some pretty upsettingly shoddy pro bono work. And it fueled many conversations. Eventually, it turned into a way too long article that I popped on the internet. And now the guts of it sit across everything my studio does day to day. It's the stuff that we avoid doing. It's the stuff that we're wary of. And Pro Bono is this sort of conversation starter. It's not the full discussion. The broader discussion is, how do we teach? How do we pass on specialist knowledge? And from a digital perspective, the websites I've seen over the past few years that have suffered from sort of lackadaisical Pro Bono have all launched satisfactorily. But under the hood, when you get into the guts of the thing, they're really leaky. They're not seaworthy. And they're unsupported. And organisations are left in charge of them without so much of a clue as to what to do. And they often sink under a thing called technical debt. A really simple way of explaining technical debt is that by taking a shortcut today, that will accumulate over time. My desktop has 2 folders on it. One is the last time I spoke, and one is today. Who wants to see inside one of those folders? Okay. That. Remember, there's another one of those in there. Not another one of these, because that's today, but there are those in there. And it's going to take, I'm never going to fix it, because I know that I'm busy and I have a life and all that kind of stuff. And I want to do the housekeeping. So about 18 years ago, as I said, lots more hair, I started designing stuff, and I worked for anybody. I loved designing, still do, but I was so passionate about it. It was the air that I breathed. It was, I was excited by everything design could offer the world. And I worked for all sorts of people. I worked on swinging websites. I worked on fast food brands. And at some point I went, no, I can't keep doing this. This is not what I set out on this journey to do. So I stopped doing that. But it was still about the money. And after a couple of years, I kind of got a whiff, after talking to people, of what my true value might have been. And I got a bit greedy. And I got frustrated with clients who couldn't afford what I wanted. And when I've asked freelancers and agencies all over the world if clients have enough money to do what they want to do, the resounding answer is no. Now, it's either that we're too expensive or that our clients don't really have an understanding of what we do, how we do it, and what the value is. Now, my wonderful brother-in-law is an engineer/plumber. I've only ever asked him to do me one favour. And I bought a sink in a sale with some taps. It's nice. Anyway, he came over. We spent a couple of hours doing it. I cooked lunch for both sides of the family, and we had some wine and all that kind of stuff. And it's been awful ever since. And it's not his fault. You know, he's super busy. He works in one of the biggest hospitals in the southeast. He works shifts, so it's painful for him to, come away, an hour out of where he lives to where I live and sit and look at my plumbing. It sounds a bit weird. It's a huge time suck to deal with that. So I had to go, because I'm a plumber and a designer. The leaking stopped. The taps were rubbish, but, the leaking stopped. And I just thought, well, this is great. And then this happened. I didn't need to talk about it. So the house nearly burned down, and I got someone in, and that was great. It didn't cost that much, but these are the kind of patterns we see day to day with lots of organisations. They have limited budget, they have limited time, and they have unlimited ambition, huge ambition. It's a commonality across all sectors, especially in the beyond profit space. And every one of these organisations has made some kind of remarkable contribution to social good. But anything you contribute needs to be well considered and robust. Designers have the ability to kind of create a much brighter future. Does anyone know who this guy is? Come on, please. This is Philippe Starck. Right, he makes kettles that burn you and lemon juices that fall over. But he's also done some amazing work, so let's not kick him too hard. I've spent a lot of my speaking career digging at Philippe Starck, but he's made incredible wind turbines. He's worked on electric vehicles, all of this fantastic stuff. So, that over there, and then the fluffy nonsense over here. And if you are going to do that, fluffy stuff that doesn't really work, and you're designing for yourself, do it on your own time. Can't serve it up pro bono. It only works if we're willing to develop a relationship. A few months in, someone's going to want something else. You need to set expectations. And this is a challenge if you're doing it in downtime, because downtime disappears. I'm not saying work together forever, but set some kind of, metric behind the relationship. It's so much better for everyone concerned. If we open a pro bono relationship candidly and openly with well-articulated goals and outcomes, the risk of it turning south is going to be massively reduced. It's a nice opportunity for you to do your sort of philanthropic thing, which is great, makes you feel all warm and snuggly in your meaty bits. And it's really important not to turn this into your magic sandbox. This is not where you explore all of the shiny things you've always wanted to do. Do not break things and move fast. You can't do that. You can't. You have to consider the outcomes. If you don't, disaster. It's bad enough when you see this with for-profits. That's upsetting. When you see it happening to an organisation that helps kids avoid getting HIV in sub-Saharan Africa, it breaks your heart. This is money taken away from helping people, and it makes me very, very angry. Now, the thing is, sorting out the website is usually bottom of the list. It's not. They're very, very busy, charities and beyond profits. So if you think you're going to do it, take a moment to think how the relationship's going to work. Now, is that 1 minute and 25 seconds left? Can someone do the maths? Anyway, however many minutes we are into this thing, you probably got the impression that I'm not terribly convinced that it works. We're at a time where organisations are squeezed. They probably won't have a line item for digital or design or anything like that. So if we don't tell them about it, they are going to fail massively, and we are failing them, which is wrong. There needs to be a much broader understanding of design and digital, both the benefits and the pitfalls, within the beyond profit sector. And we need to do much, much more work to educate and inform and keep them abreast of industry best practice. Pro bono is not going to go away. It isn't. It will continue happening, which is kind of a good thing, sometimes not so much a good thing. So long as we're delivering something meaningful within a reasonable time frame with skilled professionals and we're able to take organisations on a positive and fulfilling journey, that's amazing. It's certainly one that isn't going to suck quite so much. Thank you.